So take it to prayer and then advance the vision. That's what Nehemiah did. Verse 6 says, so we built the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart. So by Nehemiah chapter 4, the wall is already 15 feet high and 16 feet wide. This is a pretty darn big wall that they've got going at this point. It's not full protection, but they see progress that's happening along the way, and progress will encourage the hearts of the people. Not only did Nehemiah pray, though, Nehemiah also remembered the source of his vision. If you go on to verse 14, it says this, after I looked things over, I stood up and said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. See, Nehemiah remembered the source of his vision. God, this was your idea in the first place, so you're going to have to make it real. And then he remembered back to the supernatural intervention of God in his life when he was in front of Artaxerxes, the most powerful man in the entire world at the day. And he remembered back to the holy discontent God had put deep inside of him. He remembered the answers to the prayers that he prayed while he was in Susa and the answers of God in his life. And he told the people, you guys do the same thing. Remember the Lord. Remember his goodness. Remember his size and his strength and his power. And while you're at it, remember who you're fighting for. Your wives and your kids. Keep your eyes on the vision. Now, interestingly, Nehemiah never talked about the validity of the criticism. Because maybe the job was impossible. I mean, maybe he didn't have the right tools or the right team. Maybe he did just waste his 1,000-mile journey. Did you notice that Nehemiah never focused on these things, though? He focused on the power of God. Because as long as you evaluate criticism in the light of your potential, you'll be tempted to give up. But when you evaluate criticism in the light of God's potential, the potential is unlimited. You know, here at Christ Community Church, there are times that we come face to face with visions that are way bigger than is humanly possible to face. I mean, how do you change the trajectory of health care for women in Mali, West Africa? How do you reach Omaha and the Omaha Metro with the good news of Jesus? How do you open up doors for the gospel in China? How do you simultaneously make disciples, put together marriages, raise godly kids, attack poverty, eliminate human trafficking, grow a church, plant other churches, and launch sites all at the same time? You look at these things, you go, these things are impossible. But they're possible by the power of God. And I'll tell you what, there are times where I'll look at these things and wonder, God, can this even be done? Can it even be done? And it's oftentimes that I wander back into my office and I remember my calling here. Because I wasn't looking for this job. I was really content where I was. I never thought of myself as a lead pastor. This job came looking for me. And the truth is, the church wasn't really looking for me. They were looking for somebody qualified. But God brought me into the sights of the church and the church into the sights of me. And in the unlikely ways that God works together, he showed both of us that this is just the right thing. And whenever I have doubts, I go back to the moment of my calling. And I say, God, you set this up. You make good on it. I'm just obeying you. And that's what Nehemiah is saying. God, you set this up. I'm remembering your vision, your purpose in my life, the direction that you've called me to. So you're going to have to make it work. Nehemiah was participating in the vision because God had put it in his heart to participate in the vision. And you have to remember that when you face the critics.